Recently, I rewatched one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time, The Lord of the Rings. He knew. Fantastic movie, and I'm not gonna spoil the whole plot for those of you who haven't seen it. Okay, I'm gonna break it down real simple. There's some good guys, there's a big bad guy. And there's a special ring of power. Now, the bad guy believes that this ring, if he were to acquire it, it would help him take over the nation. He can rule as the evil ones do. It's got such power that he could utilize as a weapon. Now, here's what's interesting. Several of the good guys who are trying to fight him back, they think the same thing. Man, if I could just get my hands on this thing, then I could really be equipped. I could really be powerful to fight back. And they've got good motives for it. But what's interesting in this movie trilogy, and you'll see this, is that as people grab this object of power and desire, it totally corrupts them. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you're familiar with the little Smeagol Gollum character, who was this character who found this thing and fell in love with it and just gripped so tightly that it utterly corrupted him into a totally different being. Obsessed, consumed, held by the thing that he thought he was holding. This is one of the ways that the Bible describes that money and the pursuit of it has an effect on you and me. That what we think is this wonderful, shiny, precious tool, the more that we grab onto it, the more that we love it, the more that we chase it, it transforms us into nasty little Smeagol's. It has this, and all throughout, and we're not gonna be camping in just one section this morning, all throughout the text, it's like this bright yellow triangle, warning, 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 there's money afoot. And so here's what I want to do this morning, is just kind of walk you through, it's a major theme through the whole Bible, just a handful of the warnings that God has given you and I about what money can do. So here, let's just jump right in. Here's our first one. This is Ecclesiastes 5:10. Here's our first warning. It says this: he who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves wealth satisfied with his income. This is also vanity. Ecclesiastes, if you're familiar, it's like Proverbs. It's little one-liners of wisdom literature. So here's a truth that we see in the text that you have seen in real life, perhaps. That the more that you love money, the less satisfying it actually becomes. Maybe you've walked through life with a family member or close friend who struggles with some serious drug addiction. You've seen this principle on clear display. It starts as, wow, this is really fun. This feels really good. And so I'll do a little bit. And then, wow, I'm chasing that feeling. Let me do a little bit more. And then let me do a little bit more. And when people are struggling in this cycle addiction, they chase it, they love it, they love it, they love it. But the more that they love it, it takes a bigger amount to get their fix. And then a bigger amount to get their fix. And then you always know where that story goes, don't you? Broken people totally unsatisfied with the thing that they crave. It has consumed them. This is what money can do to us. The number that they give this chasing after a career is called the rat race. That it turns you into a little rat in a maze chasing after something that can't fulfill you. Some of you have maybe personally experienced where you've thought, man, if my salary just had an extra this, then I could kick my feet up and relax. If my house was just 400 square feet bigger, then my needs would be met and I could stop working the extra hours. Man, if I was able to just drive like this or live like this or dress like this, then I would be satisfied. And the more that you chase that, here's what the text says, that it becomes more and more unsatisfying. That money becomes an unsatisfying pit. That's our first warning. That's for the Christian and non-Christian alike. Many people who are far from God have experienced this. Oh my gosh, the more I chase it, the bigger the hole becomes. Here's another warning. The warnings get, in my view, progressively scarier as we walk through this. In the book of Matthew, chapter 13, Jesus is giving a parable. That's a story. He's teaching through a story. And he's talking about how the word of God is like seed, agricultural seed that you scatter on the ground, and different types of soil respond differently to it. And here he's explaining the parable and particularly highlighting the type of soil that has the thorns around it. Look what the word of God says. Look at this. And the one on whom seed was sown among the thorns, this is the man who hears the word, and the worry of the world, look at this word, and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. Money can hinder your ability to hear from God. Some of us as Christians in the room, we think, man, I want so bad to hear from God. Speak to me, Lord. Lead me, God. Tell me what you want. And this says that the deceitfulness of wealth can choke the word from bearing fruit in your life, that you can't even hear what God is trying to say because you've been distracted with, well, at work I need to do this, and my career needs to advance like this, and I've got these problems with the renovations at my home, and my countertops need to look like this, and the deceitfulness of wealth has tricked you into giving it all of your attention, and all the while the God of the universe is saying, hello, hey, I'm right here. I want to talk to you. I've got some things to say to you. And his word has just been choked out of your life by the deceitfulness of wealth. And it tricks you. It's a deceit. It looks like all that you desire. It looks precious. It looks satisfying. And by sleight of hand has kept you from hearing the words of truth in life himself. Warning, money can hinder you from hearing from God, the maker of your soul. Here's another one. Money can lead you away from your first love. This is 1 Timothy 6, 8 through 10. The Apostle Paul instructing one of his proteges on how to lead the church. Look at this. If we have food and covering, with these we shall be content. But those who want to get rich fall into temptation and a snare and many foolish and harmful desires which plunge men into ruin and destruction. Look at this. You've probably heard this, misquoted or quoted correctly. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. Here's where it gets scary though. Look at this. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs. This scares me because I know where I live and I know the culture around me. And I know that if I'm not careful, the tide of the place I find myself in will try to sweep me into wandering away from the faith. That this text is saying that there's been people who say, I love Jesus, I love Jesus, I love Jesus, I've seen his goodness, and throughout the course of their life have just moseyed on away from him. That scares me. I don't want that to be me. I don't want wealth to try to trick me into walking away from that who I love. Here's the thing. Sometimes I think maybe this is conscious. People have decided, no, I'm choosing career over money. Most of the time, it's not even conscious. It's a slow, downward, unintentional, oh my gosh, 20 years have gone by. I haven't talked to God in a decade. You know we have an enemy? A couple of you do. One who's come to steal, kill, and destroy all real and true life from you. This great deceiver, the Satan. You know what his tactics are? Some of us think that the biggest tricks in the devil's playbook is Halloween and heavy metal. I don't think that's pulling you away from Jesus. No. I think a far greater tool of his is a steeping anesthetic, numbing you away from your true love. And you know what it is? It's wealth. He doesn't need you to draw pentagrams at your house. No. He needs you to buy a bigger truck and to worry about your credit cards and to consume your mind with how you enjoy yourself, what you're entitled to on vacation. That'll do the trick, not in a week, but boy, that'll do the trick over 40 years. It'll draw you away from your love of God.
If you liked what you heard, you can check out the full sermon by clicking on the video right over here. And if you want to connect with us, you can do so on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Thank you for watching today. God bless you.